Hi everybody, and welcome to our live stream of the third game of the Women's FIDE Candidates Final Tournament held in this beautiful city of Chongqing. Alongside me is Tingjie, and I'm Ali Gershon. Welcome again.
Welcome.
So, we had the very nervous two games, first two games. The score is level, but the feelings are a bit different for both players, I think.
After 2 days, they just go through a lot.
They went, yeah, they really went through a lot of excitement, a lot of ups and downs, and now we have four more games to play. So everything can happen, obviously. And what do you think will happen today? Tan is playing after a loss. She's having the white pieces.
Yeah, she's white again, and from this board I can see she played d4 again.
She switched back to her normal lines, no more surprises. She probably didn't like too much what she got from the opening in the first play.
Actually, she's not that familiar with c4. From the first day we can see from that game. She didn't do really good job in the beginning, but then she handled the game on the middle.
Yes, yes, she managed to escape. Well, she did much more than escape in the first game, and but from the opening wise, she wasn't happy for sure because she didn't get much from the opening, and now they're back. Basically, it's a 4-game match ahead of us, so that's a format they used to play a lot. And we have our first move, so let's go to the game, right? So she switched back to d4, and let's see how it went so far. So Lei answered with d5 as we expected for the first game when we spoke with you, right? For what should we expect? This is one of her most favorite lines. And c5, this is okay. So she goes for black, opts for the Tarash variation, which is quite interesting because I don't think I have seen Lei play this with black. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not sure I have seen her games in this variation.
Actually, it's not a really normal line, and not many players are play this line.
Well, it's a very old line, but she goes for very concrete, for very tactical variation. Okay, so do you want to tell us what is going on here?
I think mostly when she prepared for the formal game, she will play knight f6.
Right, and then the normal Queen's Gambit declined lines and stuff. But this is, and both players seem to be extremely well prepared for so far. So they are blitzing out their moves. Right.
For Lei, she prepared this for this game. That's not surprising, but it's a bit surprised that Tan moves also quickly.
Right.
It seems so she also has this variation prepared.
This is quite interesting. In fact, before, I think we're still in the book, or in both players, which is more importantly, are in the book. Or maybe they don't want to get to time travel this time. What do you think? They had enough of time travel mistakes.
But they will,
they will, you think? Okay.
After some point, the position is going to be complicated, and they're going to spend time anyways.
Okay, so this is your prediction. Well, soon we'll have time to, we'll have the opportunity to check it. Okay, so what do we, let's take a look at this position from, we'll go through the current theory soon, but let us just take a fresh look at the position. What we have now is white has a pair of bishops, right? And the second bishop will go, the light square bishop will go to g2, and we will castle, and white is claiming that those pair of bishops in the relatively open, we don't have many pawns in the center to block the bishops. So white is basically planning to have this long-term advantage with those bishops that have a lot of space to play on. Black, on the other side, on the other hand, she claims that she's for now a little bit better developed, right? Her development is much easier and much faster. The knight will go to f6.
And I think the main idea for black to choose this variation is that she wants to exchange all the pawns in the center. That make this position more clear. For example, if white play e3 or something, then they will exchange all the center pawns.
This is true, but I have to say that with two bishops and without those central pawns, without those pawns on e2 and d4, I would argue that those bishops will be very, very strong. And the problem with without the pawns on the central squares is that the knights don't have good foreposts to place them. They have no pawns to support them, and they will be kicked out by white's pieces. So
that's true.
Long term, white really hopes to, if white manages to develop calmly and even exchange those central pawns d4 for e2, white will probably have a very, very nice edge. However, it's not so easily achieved because there were some immediately concrete ideas that black simply doesn't allow white to do all that, because for instance, if we take time to develop the pieces as we wish, black might have time to place the bishop on d5 and exchange one of the bishops, and also she will complete the development much faster than white does. And basically, as we can see here, black is the one that has more space in a more clear position, more dominating position for her pieces.
And you know, Alec, according to their time condition, I can see that Lei has prepared this variation well.
Yes,
she's 1:34.
She has more time than she started with.
Yeah,
and
I can see that Tan maybe has prepared this variation before the game, or she has seen such lines, but that's not the line she was expecting Lei's going to play in this game. So she spent some of the time, but not much.
She's still in the book,
familiar
right?
with this line, but not expected one.
Okay, I agree with that. And look, and this is one of the problems that we spoke about. You want to exchange those pawns, you want to develop your pieces, but you have a problem, because obviously you would love to take back with the bishop on e3, but there is a slight problem with this idea that the pawn is hanging. So she had to take on e3, and e3 is a weakness. After all, it's a pawn that will give us something that can be problematic later on, and also quite importantly, because it blocks the e file for white rooks. So now we have the black knight will have a nice forepost on e4, and it will be much more difficult to be kicked out of there. So, okay, rook b8, still blitzing out. Lei has 1 hour and 35 minutes on her clock, so 5 minutes more than she started with after 13 minutes. And Tan, of course, also has barely spent any time. And those minutes that she spent, it can be anything from just concentration to taking her time to remembering their lines, or maybe choosing variations.
What do you think?
Rook b8.
The move of rook b8.
Well, I would say that it solves the immediate problem that black had after basically by playing e3. White created this threat
B5.
of b5, right? Before that, we could not have played it because the pawn would be captured by the queen. But now, after e3, d takes e3, f takes e3, b5 is already a threat, and quite an unpleasant one, right? Because if you do nothing, for instance, if you're totally careless and you play knight f6, then after b5, the knight will have to move. Of course, a takes b5 is out of the question because we lose the rook. So the knight would have to move, and then we just win a pawn. Or maybe we don't win a pawn, but at least, or yes, we do with this move probably, right? We're threatening the queen, and after the exchanges, we win the pawn, and with it the game probably. So okay, so rook b8 is protecting against this very idea, but white still pushes the pawn, and we are heading into this endgame, which is, I think, it's nothing new, right? What is the theory? There are probably many games played in this position, right?
Let me check.
Let's check what's the current status of this position. But white is, as we said, had the pawn been on f2, white would really have a very big advantage because those bishops are extremely strong in such an open position.
I've searched for several games, but they're not really strong players. One's played on 2022 with Shevchenko, right?
Shevchenko. Oh, Kirill Shevchenko is actually quite a strong player.
But his opponent.
His opponent, yeah, and still the game ended in a draw, right?
Yeah.
It was, and
almost all the game I have searched by now, they end by draw.
It's a drawish line, which might explain what Lei is basically hoping for. She hopes to get this position where white does have a slight advantage, and as I started to say, with the pawn on f2, if white would have quite a serious advantage. With the pawn on e3, the situation is a lot different because, first of all, because this is a weakness, right? And second of all, because now the knight, as we said, will have much better. Both knights actually, they could use this e file to have those four posts.
She will have a strong square. For example, if you place the knight on e4, and there will be backup from f5 or after castle rook e8 or something.
Exactly. Yes, and we will. I think we will see it very, very soon because this is what the black is wants to do.
What do you think this game will lead to? I mean, the result.
Honestly, it feels that both players wouldn't mind some quick draw today to calm a bit before the rest day. Of course, Tan would like if she can get some two result game.
Actually,
she would love to have it.
I can feel that even with play of white, Tan's not so urgent for a winning game because she just lost yesterday and she wanted some time to adjust her cycle things. So let's see about the time. We can see she didn't bother. I mean the draw didn't bother her much.
Yes.
She will accept this.
She will. I also think that both players are really. After those two very nerve-wracking games, they wouldn't mind some calmer and an easy game.
But it's a good strategy for black. If she draw with the black, then the next game Lei will be white, and after break maybe both of the players will adjust to a better condition. To have a new start.
Yes. Well, and also, you know, you cannot win all the games in chess probably. You want to, but you probably can't do that. And especially and from Tan's perspective, I think, and maybe nothing really major is going on here, and Tan is thinking a little bit on her next game, or on her next move, and I want to take us back for yesterday's game, for the end of yesterday's game, because I heard many people spoke about this final mistake that Tan made with Bishop G4, which misses the draw. And this is a common thing that we now can see many times online, because when we watch a game, we watch it with an engine, right, with a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
And the computer is extremely relaxed, and he says, okay, obviously Bishop E8 and is a draw, is all zeros, and even not zeros, but it's a draw. And it also resonates with us knowing that the bishop should be on this diagonal, and what we spoke yesterday, that the king goes to h7, and then even if white has two passed pawns and we sacrifice h, for instance, h and g pawn, then we sacrifice on g6, and it's a draw. So we know this pattern, right? And when we look at it and we say, oh, come on, she played bishop g4 and she lost, but this is an easy draw. However, this is really not an easy draw.
Yeah, I agree. So, especially in the time control pressure.
Yes, and I will show you how this is a draw, and let the viewers judge by themselves. And I think we saw it yesterday, and we thought that white was actually winning here, because the problem with black's position and how our mind works is that we catch some patterns, right? So we catch patterns, and one of the patterns, when Tan obviously knows that the bishop should be here on this diagonal. However, the problem with this position here is that this pawn, without the pawn on d5, black has no problems whatsoever. But with the pawn on d5 and the pawns on h5, they are so poorly positioned that, take a look at this situation. So white can, there are many actually options for whites to get here, and white can put black in a Zugzwang, right? And this, if you have less than a minute on the clock and you see that white can get here, you get really scared, because you see, oh my God, I just lost the game because I'm in Zugzwang, right? Yeah. And even if you take, and it really, it's not very obvious that you have this move, because this is quite a beautiful way to save the game, right? Because this is a stalemate. And even if you see that,
I don't think a human can see this move.
Well, we saw it yesterday.
We saw it, but
we were relaxed.
Board, yeah.
We were out of the board. The clock was not ticking for us.
Yeah.
And then we saw that, okay, but white has g4 and we are winning. And what happens with the computer though is that it calmly goes and plays bishop h7, and it says, okay, but this is still a draw. And for a human to find those, first of all, not to get scared here, because the first intention here is to just resign. And the second,
me, if my calculation goes to this position, I mean after king e7, then maybe I would just stop this line.
Right, right.
I think I'm going to lose, then I will change another line.
Exactly. I just stopped the calculating.
Yeah, that's maybe
and even somebody says to me, okay, but you have to think harder. And then I say, okay, I have bishop g6, yes. But then I keep thinking, okay, but what happens on g4, and I'm lost again. Because if I go back, and this is the natural tendency for us, right, is to go back, and then g5, and we lost. And bishop h7 is really, really not a move that you consider with 30 seconds on the clock, right? So this was really not such an easy escape, and such a big blunder for black to not go to e7, e8, because I can understand what she was scared about and this is quite normal. What's more problematic is her going into this endgame, but then again, you know that those endgames are drawn, so you want to go there, right?
Yeah.
So you want to finish this struggle, and again, for like 25 moves here, the computer was saying it's equal, right? But for a human, this is not an equal position, right?
For computer, there are many moves goes to equal, not only one line.
Right.
Yeah, but for humans, maybe it's just a position that I need to work hard for
exactly
for a draw.
And I don't control anything. I don't have a forced draw, and my opponent can go into an endgame with 3-on-2 bishop versus knight, or it can or she can force me into opposite color bishops, and all of those things we need to consider as a person, and it's really not that easy to defend those positions. So don't make this mistake of just looking at the evaluation. That's what I'm basically trying to say. A long way to say this thing, that we often resort to just making this judgment, okay, that was a draw and she made a mistake, but for a human, it's not such trivial thing to hold such positions. So, okay, let's go back to today's game, because today we might have something similar. Oh, knight f6, and Tan took her time here, right? She spent about, what, 5-6 minutes here? And she played knight e5. And basically, she says, okay, now let's play some concrete chess from the very beginning. I don't want to just castle and let you do what you want, because what you want is quite clear and obvious, and we already spoke about it. Once you put your pieces, or even, black even maybe wants to put the bishop on e4 sometimes, and you know what they say? What's the best way to exchange a piece? To make your piece as active as possible, so your opponent wants to exchange the piece. So
that's a good point.
And basically what White's only advantage here is the pair of bishops, right? So if black can swap those light square bishops, black has no problem whatsoever, and even you would argue that he might even have a slightly more pleasant endgame, because there is some extra weakness for white on e3, right? So Tan doesn't want to really give Lei so much time to think about.
I think knight e5 is a
Knight
strong
e5
move.
It's strong, and it's asking questions from the very get-go, right?
And it's not easy for black to even keep her last bishop.
Yeah.
Because there's not a good way to save the b7 pawn.
So you're saying that basically we have to go bishop d7?
Bishop d7.
And that's not a move we would love to do, but maybe we can also go for such a formation to put the knights on c6, e5, and claim that, okay, we stand like that. Now you proved that you have something, right?
If you lose the white bishop, black lose the white bishop, even after bishop c6 and exchange the knight, white is better, because with the bishop and I have a2 pawn, it's a passing pawn, and my bishop is obviously better than your knight. That's
a very valid point. I agree completely, and you obviously and our viewers might not know that the bishop, when we have pawns on both sides of the board, right? The bishop is much stronger because it can get from one side to the other in just one move. The knight cannot do that. It's very difficult for a knight to do that.
So if the knight want to go to the queen side to prevent the a2 pawn from from like.
So if the knight goes here, yes.
Yeah, and then you will not be able to help the king side.
Exactly, yes. I don't know what I wanted to draw with all those arrows, but you got the idea. Yes, so knight e5. Let's think if we can still save the bishop and not give it up. And not lose the pawn in the meantime? This is a good question. So let's start with the most obvious. If we just castle.
Just sacrifice this pawn.
Just sacrifice the pawn. Let's see where it gives us, where it gets us. So how we take? We take it with the knight, and then we recapture with the bishop. And now black might try to say that
rook b2.
We have some, we have some development advantage. But is it enough? And we have a rook on b2, which is very annoying for white. And what is this? So white cannot castle, obviously, because it will drop a bishop, right? And we cannot also castle alongside because then we drop the pawn. And on bishop c3, the most natural move, there is this annoying
rook c2
pin, which will get us to an opposite color bishop endgame. And again, the next move, we are going back to c2, and I don't see how black loses this ever. And black is even, I would even prefer to play with black, perhaps. Well, it looks drawish. It looks really drawish. Although games have been lost like that. Yeah, we can lose this with black as well.
Bishop b7.
Yeah, and we'll go here. Rook c8, yes. You want to take on f2 and rook c2 back, yes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Seems to be a draw.
It seems drawish, yeah. Seems drawish. So this is one way. Okay, and so bishop c3 is not an option, and then what will we do? So we might want to start pushing the pawn.
They already
this. She did this. Okay, she did this. While we're speaking, she was thinking, you see? So we can continue and try to look into this position because we get there almost by force, I think. And after a4, now black has to make a strong move, I think. Well, it's always a good idea to make strong moves, but now especially.
What about bishop a6?
Yeah, bishop a6 looks good. Bishop a6 looks good because we stop the pawn from moving, and we prepare something like rook d8. Would not really prepare, we could play it immediately, but...
Or rook c8.
Or rook c8, which is, yes, we are correct, which is much stronger. Because when the second rook lands on c2, this is trouble for white already, yeah? And what happens if we go now like that, the same?
Take?
It's the same, yes?
It's
all the same.
Almost the same. Or even better for blacks.
Because there is no castle, yes?
One more piece is on a6, I mean the
yes,
bishop.
Yes, the bishop is very strong on a6.
And a4 is useless. These two moves swapped, and then black is better. Yeah,
I agree. So this is interesting. So do we have a strong move by white? Because if white can neutralize this activity by black, then white will be just fine. right? More than fine. She will have an extra pawn and a pair of bishops. So this is a very concrete compensation.
For example, what if I put my bishop back, I mean bishop f3?
Bishop f3.
And then I will go bishop c3.
Well, bishop c3, I thought this is not a threat so much. So here I would have two moves to consider. I would consider rook e8 to prevent this bishop from moving. Or even, let's say, let's pretend I don't care.
Bishop c3.
Bishop c3, rook c2, and you want to take, right? Or what do you want to do? Or you want to put the bishop on d4, yes? But okay, and what's going on here? I have this, I'm not sure it's such a threat.
It's an unpleasant position for white because without castle, the h1 rook is blocked at home.
Yes.
It can't, it can move out.
So you have an extra pawn, but a rook down, basically.
A rook down, yeah.
So it's a nice trade. Well, it might be quite unpleasant for white. I don't see ways to untangle. Maybe something like that, and then we would like to go. But this feels so slow. So, for instance, we can play bishop d3, even.
And knight e4?
And yeah, I want to play knight e4. Of course, if you play rook e1, immediately this goes. And please explain why I am even.
I would prefer play black.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. And if you don't do anything, if you just, but again, what do you do? Where do you push your? So after bishop d3, you can maybe claim that you can push the pawn.
I'll still play knight e4.
You still play knight e4, and there is some
this
threat,
is a threat,
right? This is a
f2.
threat. So I have to react somehow. How can I react if not take?
And I'm gonna take.
And you are now
G2.
taking on g2 and bishop f3. You can never. Okay, so this is.
This can be a losing position for white.
This is lost for white because she's playing here without rooks, without the bishop. The bishop here is just standing there. It's just a decoration, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we managed to lose it for white. Congratulations.
You can see that Tan is thinking if
Tan
she wants
is
to
thinking
take
because
this pawn
that's tempting to keep the pair of bishops, but maybe you don't even take at all, or if you do, you might want to consider this one. This is also interesting because you have this option to exchange those the bishop, and you're claiming that now you're still a pawn up. But again, I don't think it changes much for black.
Or
right?
maybe I will play rook b7 just to stop you
yeah,
from
but rook b7, you're pawn down and you're not creating any counterplay. I do not believe you can play that. Because, okay, what's your next? Let's say I just improve my... Yeah.
You just convince me.
Okay, good. That's good for me that I didn't have to provide any variations to convince. No, but I think that if you don't create something concrete, then you're just a pawn down here. So rook b2. And again, we cannot castle. This is important. And remember, had the pawn been on f2, nothing of that would be even possible because we would just play bishop e3,
and then
castle, and no problems at all. So this pawn on e3 is very, very important for black.
And this idea for white to exchange the bishop seems ridiculous because after knight e7 and you exchange my bishop, it seems my pieces are much faster than before. The rook is directly out and I will be play rook c2.
Exactly. Let's just show. Of course, knight e7 is just, I think it's a suicide. Because,
Suicide.
well, more or less. And please remember, I suggested it. So, yeah, but rook c2 is coming. Is like.
Well, this position is strat 4. Knight e4, rook c2. Oh my god.
Oh. Okay, so taking and if we don't play into black's hands, it's still very difficult to make a move here, because again, if you just move your bishop, then g2 is lost and you have no advantage. And again, bishop a6. You remember we spoke yesterday. The opposite colors are good for attacking. For the attacking side, when there are more pieces than just bishops. And as we saw yesterday, even when there are no pieces, it doesn't promise the defending side any draws. So,
yes.
Okay, this is interesting. This is very tricky. And if this doesn't work, then the whole plan of knight e5 doesn't work, right? Then you can say it's pointless to have even played knight e5.
Yeah, it seems to be a good move, but if black don't play bishop d7 and she played more actively castle, then knight e5 seems pointless.
Yes, and very strong reaction and quite fast reaction by Lei, right?
Yes.
She took what, maybe 10 minutes on this move,
and she's now walking around. She left her chair and walking around. Seems she has a good mood and relaxing, much relaxing than the first day.
Okay.
I can see that's really. She's kind of nervous and shaking her body all the time.
Yeah.
And she's now more relaxing after 2 games.
I think especially after the second game.
Yes.
And okay. By the way, they both know each other very well, right? They play for the same team, as you said, right?
Yes.
So, and they both live here in the same city, right? In Chongqing. So, what you know about each of them, they also know about each other, right? So they can also feel this, each other's
and they can
mood
feel
and
each other's. She can feel the nervous from the opponent.
Right. Okay. So let's take again a look here in this position, because I think this is a critical line here. How can we, after all, do something with? Maybe we have this move.
To sacrifice.
But my idea, my brilliant idea was
bishop b4.
B4, yes.
And then castle.
And then, not even castle. I even wanted to get tricky.
You want more.
I want more, but I will probably get less. So
Bishop,
rook d2, and I wanted to jump because there are some mates, but there is nowhere to jump, because if I jump to d5, then you can at least check me a few times, and maybe even play something like that.
And you're in trouble.
And I think I'm in trouble. Yes.
Big trouble.
Yeah.
You will lose.
Rook trouble.
Rook trouble.
Yes.
And that useless rook
is
finally gone.
It will get rid of its misery so soon. So.
I guess you want to do it a long time before, right? You don't like this rook, and then you want to get rid of it.
Right. Exactly.
Then you finally find a way.
Okay. No, but the idea was okay, I think. It just didn't work out so well. And of course, if we don't have anything concrete, so we can castle here and it will be okay, but it's just a drawish position. So without those pawns on the queen side, white really doesn't have anything going for her. So we might actually see something like that, and they will just then exchange all the rooks and then go home. But if I wanted to offer another attempt. I wanted to offer this one.
Bishop
And
C1.
my idea is, of course, to play bishop b5 and bishop f1.
What?
No, I was kidding. Okay, this time I was kidding, but to play. But
You know, I took your advice for consideration.
no, okay, sorry about that. But what else? So no, but really, I want to kick your rook out of the second rank, and if I am able to do that, then it will be
Bishop
A4.
A4.
I'll be happy. Bishop A4, you take on G2. That's a problem. That's what I wanted to initially to do, and this is a problem. But okay, but maybe I can stabilize like that, and then I want to castle, right? So you probably do not let me do that.
Bishop A6.
Bishop A6. And what is this position?
And white is hopeless again.
You think? Really? Hopeless? No, I think I can kick you out, or can't I?
You
Bishop D3 even, or rook C8.
or rook C8.
Yeah, I must say not the most pleasant position I played, but again, if somehow white manages to untangle here, although I don't see how she manages to. So bishop D2, we have a few moves. But let's start with just one move.
What about rook B2?
Yes, as soon as the bishop goes back, the rook can also go back. And anytime I go to C1, you can just take on A2. At least you have this, and maybe more, but this is enough to stop the calculation. And of course, this is a very nasty threat now, right? So on rook C1, yeah. Yeah, you see, without the castle, it's very difficult to play.
You know what's the interesting thing is that both of them didn't change clothes today.
Aha.
It seems Tan don't believe such thing.
Okay, which is good. She believes probably in her ability to play chess. Yes.
She believe in herself,
Yeah.
not this kind of stuff.
Yes, it's probably a good idea to do that. Huh? Okay, let's think. What if we play A4?
A4.
And my secret idea is, I will tell you.
Have we tried this before?
I'm not sure.
I said bishop A6.
You said maybe we tried it, but we didn't try this.
Castle.
That was my plan.
Rook,
Maybe it's not a good one.
wait a minute. Let me think about it. Rook B8.
Rook B8, bishop B5, I think. Do I have it?
You don't. I would take this bishop and then.
And you take on A4
yeah.
with the check, and then it's just a draw. Yeah, so this is how it would end in a draw. Okay, so, and if I don't have bishop, okay, but wait. What about this? Let me pretend I'm not scared.
It doesn't seem to be a good move, but for example, rook A2.
Rook A2. I think now maybe but no, but rook a2, I have this maybe. If I'm not blundering much.
Rook a3.
Rook a3. No, I think.
There's so many trouble for, and so many weaknesses for white to handle. A4, E3, G2, and.
Yeah, but I can create a few for you as well, so you don't feel left alone here with all the weaknesses. But yeah, white does not lose here, I think, but she also doesn't win, right? Ever. And okay, but if I claim that I want to win here, or at least try for a win, what can I do? Maybe I can do this.
Then I would take E3.
You take E3, and then I go consolidate finally. And now I'm claiming that we have pawns on both sides. I have two bishops. And now you have to suffer a little bit for the draw. What do you say?
I agree so.
You agree?
A4 is an interesting
so
idea.
A4, let's consider it a little bit more. So the threat is actually maybe long castle. I have a feeling we could improve.
So it means I don't have to play bishop a6 because the main idea of bishop a6 is we want to stop you from short castle.
Yeah, but short castle is not a threat even, right?
Yeah, you can make it because the d2 bishop is hanging. So the problem I'm gonna face is I will stop you from long castle now. So maybe I will play. Wait a moment.
Bishop a6 is a natural move, but
what about bishop f5?
Now I can castle short. That's my nasty plan. That's now I have this tempo.
Your nasty plan works.
Did you notice I was very quiet? I was hoping for you to fall into this trap.
This is an interesting idea.
But I think maybe this one actually.
H3.
The idea is that you cannot really now move your bishop because of check on e2.
Then H3.
Maybe you can. Then H3, and I still have no. I don't like this move. Really don't. Let's take a look again. Bishop a6. It looks very natural. You castle, rook here. Bishop c3, right?
I have an idea. What if I place my rook back? For example, rook b6.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is it. This is very strong.
Want to checkmate if you if you
Look
place
at that.
it wrong.
This is wow. This is hilarious. Yeah. Okay. So rook b6 is extremely strong. And that's it.
And
resigns.
I think that's it.
Well, not resign. No, sorry. This. Oh yes, resigns. Check. Take here.
Check. I'll resign.
And resign. Wow. And again, we managed to lose.
Mate with two castles. Mate with the two roots.
We managed to lose again. So, and this is quite forced. So this is not even a threat, right? Because
bishop is
And where else? Now we cannot even move the bishop because of this check, and then so this mess is going on. Yeah, this rook on b2 is really, really annoying. And again, all because just move the pawn to f2. None of this is even possible because we go to bishop e3 and long castle or short castle, depends on what's going on.
So can we have the conclusion of that? If human being is playing this game for white, then it's not a good idea to take the knight on c6.
Yeah, but what do we do? We go back?
I mean, maybe there is way for computer to solve all this problem with some kind of, nasty.
You know what?
Nasty
let's
thoughts.
take a peek at what the computer says, because it's really interesting. I don't think a computer will say white is so good here.
Computer says it's quite equal.
It's equal, yeah. It makes sense.
After rook b2, it suggests rook f1.
Which is a very natural move, which we haven't considered. But what about some rook d8, or what have we here? Or bishop a6? It feels that
bishop a6. Oh, rook f4.
Rook f4 and it wants to go to d4, yes.
Yeah, to cover the d5.
Okay, so this is clever. This is clever. And it's actually also very, very logical, because that was the piece that we were missing in the game.
Yeah,
yes?
this is the only piece we haven't developed yet. So develop it, and this position can be equal. But it's
what happens?
still not a very human thoughts, because after rook f1, you face many threats such as rook d8, bishop a6, knight g4.
Yeah, it's very scary. It's very scary.
You have so many lines to calculate.
And knight g4 is actually very interesting, because we want to go
knight
here.
e5, knight d3.
I would be very, very unhappy with white here.
So I mean,
would be very worrying.
If human is play after knight c6 take, this can be a really unpleasant situation. It means you have one pawn up, but you are going to defense.
It feels like you can lose very easily. You can lose this position very easily with white if you make one misstep, and that's it. So
yeah, you have to be very
and on the other
accurate.
hand, but on the other hand, you can understand that if you manage to untangle, then you're probably winning. So they both will be very, I think, generous with their time here.
Tai is struggling with knight c6, or admit this move is a mistake and turn back, just like yesterday what Lei do.
Exactly. If not knight c6, then you will probably have to turn. Well, or maybe here you don't take on c6. Maybe you can go. But where do you go? What do you do?
Bishop c4.
Bishop c4, I think. Still. But here maybe there is this long castle and we are okay.
You have to a2 pawn protected.
And the c file is blocked, which is good for us. So maybe this would be her choice. But again, after this, I don't see how she can claim that she's really playing for a win here. Because so it's. I will exchange this.
If you don't exchange bishop and knight, if you play bishop a5, then the knight on e4 will be more strong than any of your bishop.
And we can always try to exchange this guy. And you cannot really get much progress here, I think, with white. And again, you're really missing this one move, this castle, which would give you some really some things to talk about here in terms of an advantage. So yeah,
and if let's talk back, knight e5 might not be the
knight e5 is
the
probably
best choice. Maybe castle. After castle, you can still play knight d4, for example, to exchange one pair of knight and stick the advantage of two pairs of bishop.
Of the bishop,
yeah, one pair of bishop.
So this would probably be, but again, I would argue that there is not really much going on for white here either. So we have knight e4, or maybe even just bishop d7. And but here you say that you want to exchange all of these guys. Yeah, okay, so maybe I will first play knight e4, ask you where do you want to go.
Seems there's
I'm not sure you have such a good answer to this question.
Huh? No good position for bishop. Bishop c1?
Bishop c1 or e1. You want to dominate this knight on one hand, but I would like to jump here. But if bishop c1, then also you also break the
I want to place my
coordination.
bishop on b2 or a3.
Okay, but do I have to let you?
Bishop a3
Bishop e3, rook e8,
and bishop c4.
bishop c4. You managed to trick me once again. I'm not scared. With such knights, I'm not really scared.
I missed this move. Knight, bishop d5.
Yeah, now I'm...
Mind your knight? Oh, knight c3. Bishop b3.
Look, I can play... you want to play. I wanted to put the knights and take all your squares away. But there is one slight problem with this. No, I want to. I'm doing everything to lose this game, and I don't like it. So here,
I think once white release the two bishops and let them work on, then the position can be slightly better for white.
It can be, but I'm arguing that it's still very little, and black still has a ton of defensive resources here. That it's really not much. We just need to find the concrete, and to make it really. Okay, maybe knight d2 is a good move.
Knight d2. Seriously? What about rook f2?
I wanted to go here. And to start asking questions of my own.
Interesting idea.
I was actually more worried about rook fc1. Here, not letting me to c4. But again, it's maybe slightly better for white, yes, but I feel that nothing really scary. But of course, after knight e5 and castle, it's really hard to find much for white at all.
And this move already took 30 minutes of time.
Wow, already 30 minutes. Yeah, well, understandably, because it's a very committal decision now. If she goes into this, she might not get a life out of her. So, and if not, then it's just offer a draw, basically, right? So.
And after break, I guess Tan will make her decision.
Okay, we can have 5-minute break, and we'll be back soon. Yes.
老师，休息一下。
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be back soon.
I think she might need some time. Still need some time for this move. after break, we're ready to back to see how it happens with the board.
And I think we have some excitement, right? Instead of going back, Tan did take on c6 twice, but here Lei made a move that we did not expect. It maybe it doesn't really change much.
Yeah,
And maybe she doesn't want to give those ideas of bishop c3, bishop c1. So bishop a6 is it gets the same result, not letting the white castle.
And also the long castle is impossible because she will have rook c8 directly.
Long castle.
Rook c8. So this move stop white from castle from any side.
Might be even stronger, and it stops even also it stops rook f1, right? Which was the computer suggestion. Okay, what does it not do compared to rook b2? So, for instance, if we play bishop c3 now.
Actually, according to the computer, I just checked. Bishop a6 is better than
really
rook b2. Actually, these two moves are all natural moves, but after some calculations, we'll find bishop a6 is
more precise.
More precise, yeah.
Okay, good. So they found the most precise move according to the computer. And what are the options? So we cannot castle long, we cannot castle short.
We cannot play rook f1.
So we resign and go home? But what about king f2? Is this a move or are we losing?
This is the move.
Rook b2?
Yeah.
Yes?
After bishop a6, this is the move that gives white a more choice.
It looks almost as maybe as an only move, but this is a bit scary. And maybe okay, so we
knight g4.
We just made this ultra long castle.
And knight g4.
But knight g4, and you say, but wait, knight g4. Knight g4. I almost blundered with bishop c3. I wanted to mate, but I think I'm getting mated. Sorry, not with this one. I'm getting mated first. Like that.
Every piece of black is ready to attack.
Yes, this is amazing coordination of the pieces, and it obviously is worth much more than a pawn, or at least a pawn in this situation.
Yeah.
Okay, but
we both prefer to play black.
Yes, yes. And honestly, I've taken a peek at the computer's evaluation, and it evaluates, as always, it's all zeros, right? So it's for a computer, everything is a total draw, complete draw. But how do we make a draw here with white? So I would think that maybe something like that. And just claim that we want to. Oh, and Tan made the move, which makes much more sense than what we did, I think.
Bishop f3.
Bishop f3.
She want to take back the bishop to e2?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think she moves the bishop because it was getting in the way in all kinds of, after bishop c3, it would get under rook c8 and stuff. So we want it more protected. Also, we want to control the knight. Always this is called bishop dominating the knight, right? Because it really cuts all knight squares that it can jump. So this is a natural move. Another thing that, as you said, we want to maybe play bishop e2 and try to drive back to fight for this diagonal. But it gives black a whole tempo to do something. Let's think of this something to do. Well, maybe rook b2 now. Yes? It could be a move.
to stop white from king f2?
Stopping king f2, stopping bishop e2, because now on bishop e2 I think we just
knight e4.
win, yes, with this and knight e4, right? So we just win a piece. What can white do? There is this bishop c3.
Rook c2.
But you say, yeah, and what? Let's just show that after
You're
this,
welcome to exchange my knight.
white.
It changed nothing.
Well, it does change that white has no pieces that can move. I think we exchanged the only piece that could somehow move. So we don't really want to take on f6. It was just to illustrate how bad it would be, and if not, then probably bishop d4, right? Sorry, not this move again. Bishop d4. And black can bring the rook.
c8?
c8, yes. c8 is a good move. And we wait. Please make a move.
Rook c1.
Rook c1 is a threat. Well, maybe not a threat, but I think knight e4 might be a threat.
Then if you take my knight, I will
No,
play
it's
rook
not a
c1.
threat. And then we have king f2 and rooks protect themselves. So neither side really has threats. So maybe white can go just something like that.
You choose to ignore my attacking, then maybe bishop d3.
Yes, bishop d3 I was also considering, but I still, if I started ignoring that, I will keep ignoring it.
Knight e4.
Knight e4. Can I still?
Now you can't ignore.
Really? Why? What is so?
Because
You want to almost mate me.
not mate, I want to have a piece more.
Yeah, okay, but I want to queen.
Check.
Check where? Here?
Yeah, c1.
c1.
Bishop d1 directly.
Yes, very calmly.
Take and bishop a6.
This is not nice for you. This is very nice.
Once I have the piece back and your rook is still
Yeah.
full.
Okay, so did we show the whole variation? Let's show it again. So what happened is you just take on a6.
And white is still struggled, and black has pieces equal with white.
Yeah, and although now I think it should be drawish, although black is so much more active.
Still more difficult for white.
White has to prove still. Agree. Okay, so this didn't really work out well for me. But how can I even prevent it somehow? So maybe here I should have played something like rook d1.
Rook d1. Then maybe I will play bishop e4 instead of.
Oh, but bishop e4 you maybe should you might
castle.
want to be careful, yes, because we can castle. I don't think you want to allow me this.
You're right. I'll be more careful. Rook
But
c1.
okay, again, we can first of all, yes, there is this rook c1, which also I'm not sure because this one is hanging. So I managed to untie.
So I managed to belong.
Okay, You're also allowed to blunder, not just me blundering here all the time. But for instance, you can say that, okay, but if I go back, white can make no progress, right? So if black wants to draw, this is sufficient? Probably.
How to draw?
What do you do? Rook d2? How do you continue with white here?
Rook d2.
Rook d2.
This is the only move I can see.
Yeah, okay, but I can check.
Rook d1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have at least this. And if you try to get creative like bishop d1, then all of a sudden you might find yourself in trouble.
And I have rook, not rook d1, sorry.
Yeah, you don't have it, but you don't also need it so much because you're so dominating. You can even perhaps afford yourself to just make such a move, and then see what happens, because we have rook b8, rook b1 if we want.
You know, I have a feeling that the history is going to repeat it again and again, just like yesterday and the day before yesterday. Always when it's in the middle game, Lei has some kind of dominations with the position and she's attacking, but we never know what the result is going to be.
This is true, yeah, okay. But what we have to say that Lei is the one dominating so far in the match. And even in this game, it looks like she's getting her own here. I mean, she's happier, I think, now than Tan out of the opening, right?
And she's always the character who's attacking, and Tan has most time for defense.
Yeah, yeah. But shall we not forget, of course, that white is a pawn up, albeit not a pawn that to be too proud of. But and what is the current position is here, and actually Lei is taking a lot of time here, right? So what options is she considering apart from rook b2, which is the natural move, but probably not a must-make move, right? What else can she make here?
Is she? Yeah, she's thinking of to put out the other rook.
To perhaps prevent bishop c3 from the very beginning.
Because white just don't know what to be proved. Can't castle, can't move the king, can't move the rooks. It seems hopeless.
Oh, you're so dramatic. Hopeless. But let's say, what about this? She played, look what she did.
Rook e8?
It's a clever way to stop bishop c3. A very clever way. So first of all, bishop c3 is impossible, right? And she prepares knight e4, right?
But she has to be aware that white can always play king f2.
But now white can maybe play king e2, or can she? Maybe she can't.
Rook d1.
Rook d1. And then again
d1.
this.
Yeah, I switch king and rook.
But what did we say? Was it good for white? I don't remember already.
The position before is that my bishop is on c6, though we
the
have
bishop
the
was on
move
c6
of knight g4.
Right. Okay. So this is a huge
Yeah, this
difference.
situation
This is
has a
huge,
slightly
huge
different.
difference. Yes, agreed. Okay. So but maybe she maybe wants to
Knight
just
e4.
make a draw, or even better, first rook b2 perhaps,
And then
and
knight
now
e4.
knight e4 immediately.
Yeah.
And you have to take, because if you go to e1, then and this is
the end of the game.
And probably. And if you take on e4,
Then
this is probably also an end of the game, but
black still has advantage and domination.
yeah, I think the advantage goes out the window here, like after this.
Not so much as before.
Oh, well, we are a pawn down after all, and probably the best way to keep going is something like this, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it ends in the lines of like this. And then just, you know, king g1 or king g1, take here, and okay, let's see if I can predict the end of the game like this. My prediction powers. So this might be it. Let's see if none of this is, of course, even remotely forced. But I think when the computer says it's a draw, it's some of those lines along those lines that you just exchange some pieces and you win back the pawn, and you exchange into those opposite color bishops endings. What else? If we still want to play, so castle long again is not such a good idea because we lose in one move, right? So if not king f2, then what? Rook b2 now is probably an annoying threat. We still cannot castle, we cannot take our rook away. h4, h5 and bring the rook from here
It's
looks
kind of slow.
very slow, I agree. But maybe we have time. What happens if we do that? Well, first of all, there is this h5 move. Which is kind of annoying.
Stop your plan.
Kind of annoying, yes. And it also gives us another option for the knight to jump. Not that we need it so much here, but... And it gives, makes a luft for the king, which is more important here. Yes, h4 is not the move.
I think king f2 is...
It's most natural, yes?
Yeah, it's most natural.
But it's also most very forcing.
Yeah, it solves some kind of problem for this position. It makes this rook out.
Yeah, well, this will then lead to not rook d8 to knight e4. It's quite forced, right?
So actually, I don't like rook e8 a lot because it.
You think black is really has more than that here?
I think if I want to stop white from developing, then I will probably stop her from king f2. So I will play rook b2.
Rook b2, yeah, that was what we thought.
This position can be more difficult for white to see how you develop. The main idea is that I don't want your rook to come out from h1. I want to stick it there, just there. Yes. I want to make this rook useless. Then I have one pawn down, but I have one rook up.
That's true. Yeah, maybe rook e8 really makes things a little bit easier on white, because black is really, the feeling is that black is never risking to lose here, unless we go crazy and we just allow some exchanges and castle and then yes. That being said, we understand that white probably also has enough, right? White is not losing or anything like that by any means, so even after rook b2, there are
10 has already made
10 played king f2 as we expected, yes. And so are we expecting rook b2 and knight e4, or maybe she can find something else?
A bit too late for rook b2.
Yeah, but this is what we thought it will end in a first draw, right? This and this.
Unless this is what
rook
Lei
b4.
want.
Maybe that's what she wants. Maybe she's content with the draw with black, and she understands that maybe she doesn't have much more than a draw here for the.
Or maybe, is there some line we miss after rook b2? For
Let's
example,
take a look.
if
Let's
she
take a look.
sees some, she saw some kind of defense for white.
So what did we look at? We looked at bishop c3 here, and then bishop d4, right? Rook c8 and a4. So maybe she was concerned about this position because she doesn't really have a lot of progress here, even when you put all your pieces like that. So what is your progress? How do you break through here? Because if you cannot break through, then why not just take the draw and go home?
Good point. So what will you do after?
So let's say maybe I don't want.
G2.
Yeah, okay. I will play an ugly move. And you see they are going into
rook
this
c1.
Rook c1, and I go here.
And take the
rook.
Rook and rook c1.
Rook c1, I go back.
I achieve nothing.
And now I can claim that if I manage to play some g3 or g4 and bring the rook to g2, a2, then you're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
That might be the point.
So maybe she didn't see anything concrete here, and she said, okay, so
anyways,
let's
it's
do
going
this.
to be a draw, so make it clear.
Yeah, so make
it
it easy, clear, and that's what she played. King f2, rook b2, rook hd1. I think
knight e4.
knight e4 is quite natural here.
It seems that today we will see a quick draw.
Well, we thought so yesterday too, so I don't know. But it looks like they will. Knight e4 is on the board.
And take.
Take is almost automatic now, I think.
What if she play king e1?
Yeah, that's what we saw. We take on d2 and rook takes e3. Maybe she can try to play here for a win with white.
To have an extra pawn, not extra, but
try to push
pawn.
a little bit, although black is too active for that. For that to be any real idea. And also we have this move. Well, no, this is not scary anymore because we just push. So this might be half an attempt to play for a win. Is white?
But it's still a choice.
It's Tan's choice now. If or she can go into this
Opposite bishop.
and exchange everything mode with rook b1, because I don't think the rook on b2 can be tolerated a lot here. For instance, if we try to be smart, I think we might end up. How do we go here? Yeah, so maybe there's also here. How do you play with black here?
I might play h5.
Yes,
So-
h5 looks almost.
To solve the problem
Forced.
of the 8th rank. And then I will free 2 of my rooks.
But you are a pawn down now.
It's not really a problem. For example, if I exchange the rook on b1, then I will play rook a4, and I think the pawn is going to come back anyway.
Well,
Rook's,
because bishop c4, yeah. This is draw. And if we go a4, we need to play rook f1 mate. This might be very annoying. Actually.
g3, h4.
3 h4, yes. Tan took on e4.
Tan took e4.
Joe, I wanted to ask you, so how come the Chinese women are so dominant in chess for so many years? Tell us the secret sauce. What is the secret? How are you trained?
Are you serious with this question?
Of course, yes.
Then
yes,
I'm
of
going
course.
to tell you the secret.
Because you also people don't know that you have a club of your own, so you know how to teach the next generation. So
actually, it's all about the policy, because you know in China, in the past 30 and or 40 years, the national used to dominate with this game, for chess association. They were the administration of the chess association were our nation. So they have a kind of plan, a series of plan actually. They have the plan of 4 steps. The first step is we will try to win the women chess champion.
the women chess everything, I think. Yes, that's what the plan.
Firstly, for the single, for one single woman.
Really?
Yeah.
So this was an official plan, yes?
Yeah, this is the first plan, and the second plan is to win the women team champion, and the third plan is to win the men's team champion and come to the fourth one. That's the men's champion.
But you did it a little bit different, right? First you won the team championships, and then
we just followed this step. The first world champion, women world champion is Xie Jun.
Right.
That was in 1991. She's the first champion, and you know how she get there? She had almost the help of the whole national team, the whole men team help her, especially Ye Jiangchuan.
Yes.
He's really a famous and really important chess player that developed a lot. He gave a lot help for the chess of Chinese. He also helped Xie Jun a lot on the way of her world champion. That's the first step they achieve, and the second step is women team chess championship. In my mind, they achieved it in 2005 5 or 4 or something.
No, maybe something like that. I don't remember. Yeah.
Like over 10 years ago, after Xie Jun have the World Championship, that's the second step. But they also have the help from the men's team because mostly the men's are better than the women. So the plan is the men help women first. We want to step to step.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
And then we finally have the men's team champion, I think it's on 2012 or something, or 14?
14, I think.
14?
Maybe I'm wrong, yeah?
Yeah, 14.
So this came a little bit twisted, yeah? First the team and only then
Yeah, because for like the men's world champion.
Well, there is one Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah,
what can you do with him?
Yes. It's more difficult. So the team can be a bit easier for us to achieve. The thing we have to do is to unite the whole team and to make the whole team strong. Not only one, but the whole team.
Yes.
Yeah, and it makes 10 years to achieve the third step, and then we leave only the last step.
The last one, which may happen now, yes?
Yeah, that's all we were expecting now, you know. We really want the first step will come true this month.
It can happen. I think there are very good chances for this to happen.
Yeah, we have the chance now. This is the first time we have this chance, but actually it's not so easy.
Of course. Well, it's never easy. I mean, but this is really amazing the way you must have some system like from the very beginning, because you have so many top players, both men and women. For instance, now there was this World Team Championship in Jerusalem, in Israel, and you sent not even the first or even not the second team, and they still won the event with very strong competition. So this is really impressive. And as we speak of that, look at this. I think we predicted exactly the same line. So and do you have some training camps like that all the time, or do you work alone, or do you have private coaches? How do you manage to get all those people so strong? Or maybe this is a secret and I'm not supposed to ask.
It's not really a big secret, because I guess most of the country has national team, right?
Yes, but the national team, for instance, I can tell you that in Israel everybody trains
alone,
more or less alone, and they maybe before the Olympiad they might have a week or two of training camp together to get to know each other, and that's it basically. So. And there are some programs that support the top players, but they're not too big, so they can really rely on it. So, you know.
So this can be a bit different in China, because the national team is not only a name. That means you are in this team and you will train here all the year.
Okay.
So they were really familiar to each other, and mostly the men's player will help women's player.
I see.
For example, women player might find a coach who were also member of men's national team.
I see.
And the men's national team, they will have some kind of circle during the training. The circle in national team, the certain in certain members.
So I see. Okay.
And normally they get support from the government.
So they can really think only about
Yeah.
playing chess, and that's enough. Yeah.
And the professional player gets salary here,
Which is
from-
enough for a living. Yeah, for a normal.
for normal living. Not from the national team, but mostly from the province team.
So there's also good support from the provinces. Yes.
Yes.
This is very impressive. This is really admiring. Really, I mean, admirable. Very admirable.
This is how we work in China. According to the policy, this is, I think, the best way for for chess to develop in China.
Okay, and the results show that you're doing a great job. So yeah, fantastic. Okay, so
your prediction come true.
Almost, but I just realized that what I suggested. I was suggesting Rook A2, but there is just A5, and we don't win back the pawn so easily, which is a problem. On the other hand, Lei is now thinking, on the other hand, maybe it's not such a big problem. Let us think. So do we have some concrete bishop c4 maybe? Threatening bishop b3?
I guess you have to mind that move because there's still some problem with the
last rank, yes?
Last rank.
Yeah, if we had the pawn on h5, then it would be... Well, maybe we can play h5.
That's an idea.
And
to solve this problem first. Actually,
for instance,
the rook on b2 gives some help to struggle white pieces. For example, you can't move bishop because you have to move the king somewhere.
Right. So I would ideally I would want to play maybe e4 and place the king on e3, but e4 it doesn't work now because bishop d3 I attack here and bishop c2. Or is this
king e3?
King
Bishop
e3?
c2,
Yeah, bishop c2, rook a1. Yes. But you know what I have? I might. Is this not a draw? This might not be a draw because
you can stop
my king is too far away. Yeah. So I just run.
f5. Still not the
5
word.
e5.
Then I will return my bishop back. It's better for you to exchange.
Yes, you're right. You're right. But then, okay. But if I exchange, I don't believe I can.
Bishop f8, bishop c8.
Yes.
It still works.
And we are in. Are we in time? We're not in time.
The g2 pawn. Mind that.
Yeah, but g2 pawn, we still have the wrong. It should be a draw, right?
The situation switched from yesterday.
Yes, now it's
opposite,
why we are claiming that it should be a draw because we will give back this bishop, but we will be able to exchange
the pawn,
the last pawn. And we go here, and this cannot.
king f5.
Yes, we'll win the tempo when we can. We will play this, and then eventually we will. Well, this we can even win maybe with black, but just to show that white cannot prevent us from exchanging this last pawn. Okay, so this is a draw. Although there is some calculation needed to make sure that you don't blunder something here. And but no, but actually this might be losing. I think after e5, there is this rule that says that if there are more than 2 squares between the pawns, then you cannot stop them both with king and bishop. So this I think is actually winning for white, because these pawns mean really nothing, and you cannot conveniently stop both those pawns with the bishop and the king.
H4.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I mean,
It's black.
Black H4.
Yes, but I don't think I care too much.
Exchange.
I can go here.
Bishop E4.
Yeah, we can exchange. I don't care about this pawn so much. So as long as I can keep. Well, maybe I do care. I will have to put H4 at some point. So for instance, you just shuffle, right? You don't do anything. And then I will come back to protect this pawn. And what will happen is that I will threaten to go here and win your bishop. So you will have to stay with me. Because you cannot meet me like that with your king, because then this pawn runs. And if you wait for me to go, for instance, to go here, and once you start to block me from there, then this one goes, and you're not in time. So,
and I think Lei just give us a good solution for
I
this.
was going to suggest that because we went 35 moves more than needed. I wanted to say that F5 is a good move to block E4 to prevent this. And this is exactly the reason. So we want white to have to untangle from E1 and not E3. And this is exactly the reason why.
It seems Lei has a good understanding on this.
Yes, very, very strong move. Shows really good understanding, and she doesn't spend much time in this position. And she looks, I think, even I can say that she looks very confident now. Yes. And what are we expecting? So if white wants to have anything to show in this game, she will have to play king e1, right, to untangle. But then after bishop d3, the rooks are traded. And with the king, with such a passive king, of course, there is no way white can even pretend to be winning here. So this should be a fairly easy draw now, because once the rooks are swapped, maybe we can just show it to our viewers. So once the rooks are swapped, we can. It doesn't even matter if the pawn gets even to a7, because we just stop it there. First, probably white will want
G3.
to keep to watch this
Bishop c3.
pawn. We'll put our pawns like that. And we will simply not let the king go through our defenses. We'll meet the king somewhere along these lines, and just walk with the bishop. The king will be placed on, let's say, d6. We move our bishop. It's black to move. Okay, so we put our bishop. And if you go too far away, then we can meet you here, and we still shuffle, and you don't really have much to go. And even if you manage to drive us away, then you will still need to go to b8 with your king, and this is very problematic, because once, for instance, once the pawn is here, we attack it from behind, and we don't let the king go to b. Sorry, what we will do is we will do like that, and the king cannot go too far away. It cannot go to b8, and we will also attack if needed. We will attack the pawn on a6, so the king cannot run to the other side. And once white commits to a7, then we can safely move back and keep our defenses on this side. So it's quite an easy mechanism that white cannot really break through.
I think the history is not gonna repeat
It's,
today.
yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna repeat because it's much more easier.
Yeah,
this
and the
time.
time is enough for both of the players.
Yes, they will be able to make 2,000 moves before they lose 2 hours. So after rook e1, I really would expect something like
King e1.
bishop d3, or maybe even king f7. Yeah, and we're not really in a rush to do anything because with such a passive king, you're not really threatening to do anything. So, and for instance, if you go rook c1, well, we have to watch out not to blunder the bishop. This is always good. But if we don't blunder, then you don't really have, so you will probably put the pawn on a6, but then what? So we will put the rook on a2, and I prefer to exchange, I always prefer to exchange those rooks, because without the rooks you don't really have anything going for you. And if white wants to run away with the rook, then we have...
Actually the rook on b2 is not a good choice, because after rook c7, then I have rook g.
Rook g7. I think I will...
I have tactics.
You have tactics, but I have this intermediate check.
So. I didn't see.
So I love you making those tactics.
Or I will play bishop c3 directly.
Bishop c3 directly, yes, and this is what I'm saying. But again, you're not really you're not really threatening to win here. Not with such a king. Not with such a king. Yes, it's a bit problematic. And also, king f8. Maybe we don't even have to go to f8. We can maybe even go to e6, because here we have this perpetual repetition. So there are so many ways to make the draw, which can be sometimes a little bit dangerous because you need to choose one, but it should be enough, the one. So yeah, you think they both already concluded that this will be a draw, or is Tan still trying to squeeze some chances?
I guess not, because she decided to put her king on e1 instead of g3. If she wanna still push some pressure, then it's better to put the king.
Yeah, but she cannot do that.
To g3.
Because this loses.
Oh, sorry. And then.
So there is a problem with that. And if she puts the king on f3, I think there is still a problem with that.
g3. You wanna take.
If you move the bishop, then I have this bishop e4, and bishop c2 is a threat, I think.
What if bishop c3?
Well, I thought. Well, first of all, this is an immediate draw.
King g.
It doesn't really matter. I
F4.
take and take.
King f4.
Yeah, this too. I don't really care. I just take and take.
It should be an easy draw with passing pawn that is close to
Sorry,
my.
this is an automatic draw, and we after yesterday we already know that the bishop has to be on the 7, but here it really doesn't matter at all. So this is really an automatic draw. And after king e1, I think, yeah, bishop d3 played, and I think it will be a handshake very soon. I expect rook b1 next move. And I think Lei take this time to just calculate that no surprises, and she makes it with her king.
She played bishop d3.
And if Tan plays a5, I think she will play king f7, but on rook c1, I think she will play rook b1.
I think you have a precise prediction today.
Well, let's see. Let's see. Well, I have to guess one time out of 12.
a5.
Yeah, a5, I think king f7 is normal move. So compared to the previous games, really not many events today, and well, unless something will change dramatically again, but I don't think we should expect anything of the sort.
I think this will mostly happen when the two of players are lack of time.
Yeah, yes, mostly. That's why I think this is one of the reasons why the shorter time controls are getting popularity, because the shorter the time is, the more you make mistakes and the more results you get, and you know, this maybe is a little bit annoying to lose a game because of time, but for the spectators it's much more interesting to see people lose what to do than just make perfect games and draw. So yeah, we should not expect. And we saw from the very beginning, right, from the opening, that they were probably on some level they were ready to take the draw today, to relax. Both of them, they needed it, and maybe we can. Again, this can go on for a few more moves, so we can maybe talk about. So we're halfway through the tournament. Yes.
Yes.
They don't know, but they in our minds they already made the draw today. So, and what in the last 3 games, Lei will have 2 white pieces, which is important, and which is even more important, she will have the white pieces in the last game.
Yes.
So even if she drops this one of she loses one of the games with black, she will have the chance in the last game to fight back. So I would say in this formation she has the advantage, right? Especially given the way. Well, I would love to hear what you think. It looks like she's really dominating this match so far, right?
I think so. During the games, I think she has more dominations than Tan. Maybe it's because of their style of chess, the style of how they play. I mean, Lei's style is more active. When she plays like Tan, used to have some chance in more complicated situations. So they have different style of playing. So mostly when they are just have a normal game, Lei has some edge.
Okay, and then although she surprised me. She surprised me.
It's not a big problem.
I don't understand why she needs to do that. I would really want to bring the king
Me too. I will bring
closer
my
to
king
the
out.
passer.
Yes. G5.
Interesting.
Unless if she want to exchange more pawns, for example, if there's a chance, she might play f4 to exchange more. make this game much more clear.
Yeah. Okay. This is a possibility. I don't really understand why she needs it. But maybe there are so many ways to draw it here, so you can do whatever you want, really. Well, to some extent, not too much. Eventually, there will be time that you cannot do anymore, whatever you want. But so far, yeah, so far she's safe. But again, I think I would play King F7 because this goes a little bit more automatic. So you bring the king to the center, and once the king is in the center, you're not really risking. But maybe she was afraid of some ideas that white can try and penetrate from the king side, like to play h4.
So she wanna
force us to play g6 and then try to enter along the dark squares. Maybe she's preventing this idea for the future.
Control the king
so she wants, so she wants to control the king side pawn. Nothing really wrong with that so far. So yeah, and continuing what we started talking about. So yeah, I think Lei does look a little bit more convincing so far. Although especially given the fact that we spoke that Tan has much more experience on this highest level, right? So Lei didn't really play so many matches on this high level. And but she's adjusting, and I think every game she plays gives her more confidence, right? And it looks like that, yes.
It seems that Lei has dominations on most of the games, but you know, the result depends on a lot of things. For example, the experience and the time and the cycle, and also sometimes a bit of luck.
Yes, obviously luck is an important factor. Even such things like hitting the weak spot in your opponent's preparation or stuff like that. Sometimes it can play really a crucial role in the outcome of the game. So. Or even those things that we saw, uncharacteristics, for instance, like Tan playing rook b1, missing bishop f5, on playing rook b8 and bishop. She will not do it every game, obviously, right? But it was a bit lucky that she did it this time, or that she didn't play bishop e8 in the ending. So luck, there's nothing to do. You need luck to win tournaments, and especially when you're playing such a strong opponent. So yeah,
I think you never know what's gonna happen till the last minute.
Yes, obviously. And what do we do if we are white here? How do we play? Because Tan wants to play, and
try to free the pieces from struggle.
Can we do that?
For example, rook a1.
Rook a1 is a natural move because we are threatening to
push the pawn.
And pretty much I think that would force black to or maybe she doesn't even want to do that, you know? I'm thinking maybe she's
Bishop a6.
She can even maybe afford to do
Yeah,
that.
because her rook is still better than the white one, so this rook controls the whole pieces.
Yeah, yes, but okay, but let's, but white does have a plan here. And if we are able to push, then we'll have some chances with this extra pawn, and that's not, let's say, to let white pieces out and play this endgame with the rooks on the board, it's not something you really want to get with the black. So when having the chance, I think you should automatically swap the rooks.
I see a line that's kind of interesting.
Okay, let's see.
And risky.
Okay, we love risky. It's not our pieces, remember?
After bishop a6. Is there? Yeah, king d2. f4.
f4.
I want to exchange, but if you don't exchange, then I might have a passing pawn by my own.
Yeah, I will exchange.
And
I'm
then
afraid.
exchange.
But now
if you just ignore me.
I can ignore. I can play something like that.
That's what I didn't expect.
And that's how we might lose the game of black. It's exactly the way to
check
lose.
By rook.
Like this?
And rook g1.
And rook g1.
I still believe it's a draw, and
yeah, but you need to make it now.
Rook g2.
Rook g2. Maybe it's an easy.
G6. Rook g6. If you.
It's maybe an easy one, but maybe not such an easy. Well, I will still try to do something. So I will try to block your rook from the 6 file somehow, like put rook on d4, bishop on d6, try to get my king to b6, and try. It is a draw, but it's a much more difficult draw, let's say, than this one. Because, for instance, if we exchange the rooks, you don't really need to think anymore. So you make the draw with your hand. So
I agree with your opinion.
So for this reason, I think, and g5 actually it's not a bad move, because we would eventually we would play bishop e4 and we block the pawns like that, and then we don't even care about the h7 pawn. It can be absent from the board because we have all that we need already here in place. So this cannot be broken through. And we can even go for attack. Okay, so rook a1 on the board. I will be very surprised if we don't see rook b1 check. But it will not be my first time to be surprised, and probably not my last time to be surprised. And there are more ways than rook b1 to draw here. So
it's a crossroad to decide either exchange the rook or remain it.
But I think it should
The
be.
choice is between bishop a6 and rook b1. There's
yes, but I would not consider, as soon as I saw king d1, I would not consider bishop a6 for even 2 more seconds, because why do I need that? I am not playing for a win, for sure, right? And I will calculate that I don't let so I need to calculate that this pawn doesn't queen by force, which is very hard to imagine how it can. I cannot even imagine how it can, because I have so many tempi to provide here. So I can even waste some time, and you're not even remotely close to breaking through. So, and once I'm here, for instance, I can even say that we can forget about this. With this formation, I can even let's say I just put my king in the stupidest way possible. I put it there. How can you break through?
King break through H file.
Okay, so you will take the pawn.
And then I will place my king on H4.
You will place it on H4.
Try to exchange.
You go H3 eventually, right? You
Yes.
have no other plans.
Exchange.
Now what will you do? You will have to play G4.
Because the square
Exactly.
is
Exactly.
white and
The
the
square
bishop
is white, so I will just go along this diagonal, and eventually you will have to play. Well, the only thing that can happen for me is that if I fall asleep and I let you do that, that's the only way I can lose. Is if I play E4, bishop E4, and I'll let you play G4. Any other thing is just an automatic draw because
I will just exchange my bishop with your
yes, we give up the bishop, and
pawn.
this is a theoretical draw. So we really, really need to go out of our way to lose this game with black. After we exchange the queens, the rooks. Sorry. Although if the rooks are on the board, it's much easier to lose for some, and things happened already in tournament practice, where this pawn was not, black wasn't able to hold the pawn with the rook and bishop. So.
Alec, should we take a little break?
We can take, although I think we are very close to finish. We might take 5-minute break and
let's see what will happen.
Okay.
What will I choose? Okay, take a break. 老师，休息一下。 Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the third game of Women Candidates.
Hi, welcome back.
I'm Chiu, and this is my partner, Alec.
Joe, as we expected, yes, the rooks were exchanged.
Yeah.
And now bishop e4. Off the air, we spoke that white might have another try because black played g5. White has an option to create herself two passed pawns by sacrificing on g4. But as Cho said correctly, all we need to do with black here is
to place my king on a8.
Yes, we will place the king on a8 if we are able to do that, actually. But what we want to do, we want to place the king on a8 and exchange the h2 pawn, right?
Yeah.
So for instance, what we want to do is something like that. And we exchange
G3.
it.
Oh, you have to mind if my pawn...
Yeah, but I'm right on time.
And,
but now I dropped e5. But let's say we don't play so stupidly as I did. And so what black would need to do is basically to get this king here and exchange this pawn and then give up the bishop for the e-pawn, and we again have this endgame where white has the wrong colored pawn.
It's the real article draw.
It's a theoretical draw, yes, exactly. But the way Tan played it, she didn't even try to play g4. She played g3, and after g4, we already discussed this. Now we can go with the king to a8 and just sleep, right? Because
yes, we can give up h7.
Because nothing can really be done by white.
You are the best predictor today. You just predict the whole whole game.
I got lucky today. Or maybe that means they're playing very badly today. I don't know.
I don't think so. These are all natural moves.
Yeah, these are natural moves, and these are the most correct moves. So. I would expect to draw for. I'm not sure are they allowed. Oh, there anyway. They are after 30 moves. So even if there is a 30 move rule here, they are past the 30 moves, and probably we will see a draw very soon. So. Yeah. What else? After g4, to tell you to be honest, I don't even see how white can pose even remotely any kind of even ask any questions. So because we don't even so we just wait like that, and she played king d2. King f7. I think the moves are really automatic, and I would expect a draw for really very soon.
King
c3 played. Actually, you cannot even take on h7. Even if I go with the king to a8, you will not be even able to take on h7 because I have a check.
Yeah, I have f4.
And you might even lose suddenly if your bishop is not well placed. So yeah, nothing.
They're moving faster.
They move fast because well, you see, Lei is already bringing her king to the center. Sorry, Tan brought her king to d4. When they put the agreement draw, they put the kings next to each other, so it's already there. Now she can play bishop f3, she can play king d7. She play king d7, which is a natural choice. King c5, I think king c7 will come.
Black has an easy plan to...
Yeah, extremely easy, extremely easy.
And there's no improvement for white.
The only improvement is, you know, in some blitz games back many years ago, before live transmissions. So the way some tricky players would win this with white, they would move the bishop, and then suddenly in time trouble, only in time trouble it goes, and then at some point the bishop would become white squared, and they would win it. Yeah, there were some players that would do that. That's cheating.
Trick.
That's cheating.
That's cheating.
But there were such occasions, you know, that people would suddenly the bishop would, and he would not win immediately. He would move a few moves along on some other side that the player doesn't watch, you know, and then the bishop would suddenly appear to be white, and they would win the game. Yeah. So
this will never happen when we
it will never.
Streaming now.
We are
millions of eyes are watching.
We are very alert, and yeah, the problem here is white cannot really even remotely. There is not even half an idea here for white, so it's frustrating. And I think both players understand that.
So is it time for us to guess what will Lei play?
Let's try.
For the next.
Let's try. Yeah.
Next,
so,
game.
What would be your strategy?
Let me think about it. You know, for most of time, actually, Lei plays d4. So if she want to give her opponent a surprise, then e4 might be played.
E4, yeah, but I would go with d4. I think she and she also she had a very convenient position and very good game. So she also has some good feelings after.
Predict. But
yeah,
d4 is more likely to be played, right?
I think we should see d4 until the rest of the match for both players. That would be my guess. And, of course, tomorrow is a free day, and the next round is extremely important, I think, because if Lei manages to break through and to score a win and to go forward. First of all, it will be the first time she leads in the match, and Tan will have only one chance to really come back, because you can come back from behind with black in the last round, but it's extremely difficult.
And you will have more pressure if you want to come back on the last game.
With black, again, with black you don't come. It's extremely difficult to come back with black. Yeah, and on the other hand, if Tan holds next round, and as we said before, Tan might be feeling that she has an advantage in the rapid, so maybe she doesn't mind to get all draws until the end of this match.
I agree so.
And then if you remember in this Carlsen-Caruana World Championship match in 2018, so there were near the end of the match, even in the very last game of the match, Carlsen had this very promising position with a very interesting, a position he would normally play on for a win, but he suddenly very uncharacteristically for him, he offered a draw, which he almost never does. But he did it because it was the last round of the match, and they would go into the tie breaks, and he was so confident with his abilities, with his advantage in the rapids. So he even didn't really care that he lets go of some chances in this last game, and he really scored a very convincing victory in this final in the rapids section.
That might only happen with Carson.
Well, yes, but
not many players
can do
do
that.
this kind of choice.
True, but on the other hand, if Tan, she is the current world rapid champion, so she must be feeling that she has an advantage in this area, right? I'm not sure. I've never seen Lei played rapid, so I don't know. Maybe she's also a very strong rapid player.
She's not bad, but in rapid, experience means more.
Maybe I would say. It's. I think in rapid, very important is concretely on which day you hit, because we all have our bad days, but in rapid and blitz, if you have a bad day, all the games happen in this bad day, and if you get on tilt, it's very hard to come back from that. So it also means a lot what will be your form on that specific day. But I think, but still, I think both players think that Tan has this slight advantage in rapid. So Lei would ideally want to finish the series in regulation, yeah. And so this maybe will dictate somehow her taking a little bit more chances, but on the other, but also she knows that she has white in the last game, so she might not want to take too many risks in the next two games and leave the final attempt to the last white game. So this might be interesting, and we are speaking as if the game has already ended, but there was no handshake yet. And maybe both players are doing the same as we are. They're playing their next game. Maybe they're planning their plans for tomorrow to see the beautiful city of Chongqing.
I don't think so. They're so familiar.
But they live here, so it's probably our problem what to do tomorrow, not for them.
So what to do tomorrow?
Well, we will.
You will have a sightseeing.
I definitely want to have some sightseeing because, to be honest, I'm a bit afraid to go alone to the city because I'm scared I will not come back.
And not many people speak English here.
Yes, unfortunately, not too many people speak English.
Alec has told me that Chinese people are warm-hearted. Most of the Chinese people want to help, but none of them speak English.
That's true, but they're extremely warm, and every time they go out of their way to help and to this is like one of the most amazing experiences I've had really ever, because
don't worry, you will find a way to come back, or they will just send you to the police station, and the police station will send you back.
Yeah, well, eventually, I have this card which reads "Take me home," and
and this is my address, and please take me home here.
So today I went to a shopping mall, and when I came back, I found a taxi, and I just show him the card, and it was okay.
Chinese.
Yes, the card. Yeah.
That's a good idea. Not to not get lost in China.
A funny story, actually. When I was coming here, the organizers, I asked what happens if, for some reason, nobody meets me in the airport. So how do I get to the hotel? And the organizer sent me the address and the name of the hotel in Chinese. And when I arrived to the customs at the airport, to the passport control, there is this form that foreigners have to write. And one of the fields is to fill in the address where you will stay. And the only address I had was in Chinese, and I cannot, it would take me maybe a year to write that down.
Yeah, the Chinese characters are really difficult to learn to write.
So I asked some worker there to help me and to write down this address. But when I came to the officer at the passport, and obviously I do not speak, and I don't look like somebody who can speak Chinese, and he sees my application, and he sees something, that the address that is written in Chinese, and he was really impressed with my skills. You know, he said, "Oh, you speak English, you speak Chinese."
And you have a good character writing of
yes,
Chinese.
yes, it was like very long sentence, you know, like. So yeah, it was very interesting.
Oh, let's see.
Anyhow, we missed 2 moves, and we A6 and King C6 played. I think Lei is really planning to do what we thought for what we prepared for her, right? To put the king on A8, and
so
ask the arbiter to make the rest of the moves, maybe. Yes. Okay.
So if put the king on A8 is the plan, is it better to go from king C7?
I don't think it really matters.
Or king C8? Because if now white play bishop
C5, then we will go king C7.
Yeah, and you will go back.
I think the beauty of playing king C7 is that you really show your opponent that it's game over.
It's game over.
Right?
I can do anything.
I don't
here.
try to keep you in the center. I just go to A8 and that's it. I mean, and Tan doesn't really look happy here.
I'm 1 pawn up, but why the situation is different from yesterday?
Yes.
Both with opposite
so unfair,
bishop.
yeah?
Yeah, it's unfair. Why? Why yesterday I lost and today there's no chance I can see? Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm joking. But it might happen in my mind if I'm playing this game, and I might think, why it's unfair.
Yeah, I have a similar situation, but that one really hurt, because in the same tournament, I once had rook and bishop against the rook. Once I had it with the rook and the bishop.
And you draw.
And I drew. And a few rounds later, I had it with the rook and I lost.
You lost.
And I was like, this is unfair.
It's a sad story, actually.
This is a very sad story. And the sadder story is that I think if I get it the same today, the result will be the same, because I didn't learn well from my mistakes. And bishop c5 played. She might actually not even go to c7. She can go.
King.
Oh, she's attacking. You see? She went
She
counterattack.
Yeah, she
forces a7.
She forced a7.
And now king a6 will come probably, yes?
Yeah, and king a6.
As long as not
b7.
king c6. Now it's very different. Okay. It was important not to play king c6. But after king a6, yeah, she's just shown that.
I think it's going to be drawing few moves.
Yeah. Well, this is nice that even h7 is untouchable. So you don't even have this option.
There's no any concern unless you play. Oh, if she played king a6, okay, it's a draw. I don't think any accident can happen.
No,
here.
not here. Well, the only accident, she sidestepped this accident.
Yes, but it's not happened.
Not here, not now. And I think we don't even have now the option of blundering h3 and g4, because you don't have you don't have time even for that. So.
And this will switch the result. The black wins.
And I don't think Tan will torture herself even here, because
or they might
With
just
this-
shaking hands.
I think so. I think it will happen because these two, I can even play h5 and I'm not even letting you do anything. You're not even getting my my
Bishop
bishop.
f3 and bishop g4.
So I will cement it over here.
Mhm.
Well, there are so many ways to do that here.
I
So.
will shuffle my king to b7, a8, b7, a8.
Yeah, we can do it until tomorrow.
No, the arbiter won't let you.
Yeah.
There are 14 moves and 50 moves.
50 moves
rule,
and,
yeah.
and enough is enough.
The arbiter wanted to go home, so he won't let you.
Yeah, so this really was the most uneventful game so far, although there were some very precise decisions. Well, if we go through the game again, we might say that the critical moment was basically here, when Tan chose to play knight e5.
And black chose to play castle.
She probably underestimated this very strong reaction of short castle. This pawn sacrifice with the very, very strong initiative, which White, to untangle herself, had to give up all of her. Well, she didn't even. Actually, she managed to not give up the pawn. But black had the option to transfer the game into this dead drawn endgame, which is. And you know what? We have another difficulty here for another danger for White. If she doesn't make a move in the next 12 minutes, she will lose on time.
Oh, that's also a joke.
So she has to be careful.
This will only happen if she knocked down.
Yeah, well,
it's not
jokes
gonna
aside,
happen. Yeah, it's
obviously
a
this
joke.
is not going to happen. We don't want this to happen ever, because it's also not a position where you can think for so long without really. There are not. I think she's more concerned about her plans for the next games than and then really trying to being able to find anything here. Yes. So tell us, we have some time to tell us about your club. Well, it's a big club. You told me, right?
No.
Well, maybe not by Chinese standards, but in Israel, if
in my town, you can't say it's a big club, but it's a club. Because there are also other clubs that are running well in other areas, but in my areas, that club is the biggest one. And so you are the starting point of the next champions, right? So the young, you're right. So their first step is coming to you, right? And then I hope some champion will come out from my club, but it takes maybe 20 years time.
Well, we have time.
Yeah, and by then I will be an old woman. King e5.
King e5. Okay, now black. I wanted to say that black should be careful not to miss a8 check and king takes f5, but I think
play king b7.
Pretty much any move, any legal move doesn't allow that. That doesn't blunder immediately. Well, maybe h6, which a move you would not even want to make, would allow 8-8. King b7 is automatic here. If we are in the game of predicting, let me predict. King b7 is the move.
I believe she will not make such kind of blunder.
She cannot, because
can't.
she simply doesn't have a move to blunder.
Mm-hmm.
No, King f4 was not played, right?
This is your prediction, right?
Yeah, it can be. Or maybe she will go back to d4.
Or maybe they're going to shaking hands.
Yeah, it might well be.
Oh, it seems a bit hot. Lei took off her coat.
Yeah.
Oh, King b7 immediately after she.
Maybe she heard
went
us,
back.
that she cannot blunder. She probably wanted to blunder, but since we said that she cannot blunder, she will not.
Let's see if Tan will put an end before 40 moves or not.
King d6.
It's a bit pointless keep this.
This is interesting why she keeps playing. Yeah, but sometimes sometimes you just take those minutes to process what happened in the game and let your opponent sometimes just suffer a little bit. Although this is really not suffering, so.
Yeah.
But you let your opponent think maybe I have found something. Although this really is, there is so little to do here with either color, so I'm actually even surprised a little bit that Lei's taken. I think any legal move that doesn't blunder in one move. For instance, this is a move I wouldn't want to make because of this, right?
Yes.
But apart from that, anything that doesn't blunder, even h6 or h5, which are the worst moves here, will be okay.
This will only happen in the new learning kid.
Yeah, well, things happen. So I think this is the most natural move to make. Bishop somewhere to b1 and then
or
you ask.
King a8.
Or King a8, either one will do, of course. But actually, I like that Tan is not that Lei is not blitzing out the game, because she has this tons of time and she can spend one more minute to make sure she doesn't blunder anything, no breaks like that, or she only needs to do it like maybe once now and then she can just shuffle.
I might know what she's thinking of. She's still thinking of what if white transfer the king to h6 and after she took h7, what will happen? I think that's the only line she's
maybe but as we said, even if you lose the h7 pawn, it's so really
f4.
Even
f3.
without f4, even if we didn't have f4, there is nothing going on there.
Yeah.
But actually, for that, I like. That's it. Yeah, they agreed.
Make a draw.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, draw is finally agreed, as we expected for quite some time already. This was the calmest game so far, right? Really not much happening apart from this knight e5 short castle. Both players played well, played solid, and not many mistakes.
No mistakes seen here. It's all natural move.
And
the game is equal almost from the beginning to the end.
Yes, And that's what happens when you don't make mistakes. The game ends in a draw.
And tomorrow there will be a rest day. After the rest day, Lei's gonna play white and Tan's gonna play black. And that game will be a crucial game for both two players. So let's see what will happen the day after tomorrow.
We think the second part should be very exciting. Chess. And thanks for being with us, and hopefully see you 2 days from now.
See you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.